Hey gang, Woody Woodruff here. Welcome to the Sports Office on a Friday. Normally we have a cast of thousands in here to talk about what's going on for the week, but this week I wanted to do a little something different. So I invited my man, Trevor Thompson, in to chat with us today. Trev, welcome into the Sports Office. Thanks for coming. And you're in the Believe in Lions podcast, right? You
Yes,
got that
sir.
going on? Talk
Yes,
to me
sir.
about that before we get into what's going on tonight.
It's been a blast to be involved with Glover Quinn, former Lions All-Pro safety. He was the host of the show, co-host of the show before I got brought on this year, and he and I had a blast all season long. It was great to get back involved with the Lions because the last time I covered the Lions was back in the Millen era.
Right.
They had the Millen Man March and all the controversy around that.
remember that.
Needless to say, covered some hard times. Now that the coin has flipped to the other side and it's heads, not tails, it's been a lot of fun covering those guys and having that perspective with a guy who's been there and done that in Glover Quinn, another fan favorite when he was in the Motor City.
Well, that's cool. All right, let's get into what's going on now with the Lions, all right? Everybody's looking at the combine, okay, down in Indy and talking about what guys need to do in order to improve their stock and all that. But, Trev, let's start with this. The idea that the players, the young guys down there, are talking about Lions players as guys to point to. Like, I want to be like Hutch. I want to be like Amon-Ra. I want to be like Gibbs. And that is something that's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you look at last year at the Combine, too, Isaac Tesla set himself apart from the rest of the pack. The Lions move up to get that kid, and he's shown just to be an athletic freak. So if you can uncover these guys in the draft or in the Combine and move up in the draft or find a sleeper late in the draft and help augment your team now and down the road with some of this young talent, obviously it's going to move your program ahead right now. And I really think that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell know what a Lion looks like, know what they're looking for. They're great talent evaluators. So when they come away with guys they like at the draft or guys they like at the Combine or somebody's stock rises in the eyes of the Lions, I really stand up and take notice because I really think these guys know what they're doing in that regard as far as identifying talent.
You know what? There's multiple positions of need for this team. Where do you think they'd look at first?
It's only me, and they know a whole whenever I see things happen that don't make sense, I always ask myself, what don't I know? They know a lot more than we know,
question,
right?
Yeah.
So I'm only speaking from my own perspective here, but right now, I'd be taking an edge in the draft early, and I would be trying to get my offensive line, that interior offensive line help through a veteran in free agency. I just think it's too crucial. You can't miss. You can't wait on development because this team's ready to win now.
Right.
So I'm going to get that in free agency or if a trade if that's out there too. But I'm going to go in the draft. I'm going to get myself an edge right off the hop and move on from there.
You know what? I might go a different way because I think that this draft and this class going to be deep at wide receiver and deep at edge rusher. So I might go for a defensive tackle and help a little bit push in the middle because how many times did we see last year where the edges, were out there, but everybody escaped up the middle.
Right.
And, I'd love to see that wall, form again for the Lions, and then maybe some sack numbers would start to step up. But again, that's, a little bit down the road. We'll see what the Lions pick. But there's been a lot of talk with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell about some of the new personnel on the team, specifically Drew Petzing. What are you hearing about him as offensive coordinator?
A lot of turnover with that coaching staff last year. I think the lack of continuity may have certainly hurt them early in the season and along the way. And then you see Dan taking over the play calling. So obviously that wasn't a move that really worked out for them. So I want to see what Drew Petzing has to offer. I'm not sure how it's all going to play out because, again, we go to what we don't know and what he might want to do differently and what kind of personnel they might use. What's going to happen with David Montgomery? How are they going to use some of these guys? I really thought they didn't get enough out of J-Mo last year. I'm wondering how he'll be utilized. Obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs is Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm wondering how, if they're going to change the way they use him or it depends, I guess, on what Montgomery does. But just what he's got in store, we're going to have to wait and see. But I'm interested to see how all this plays out. They've got to develop some continuity. Whether they're missing continuity, they've got to develop some more of that and carry it on in their program.
When we heard from Dan Campbell and he talked about David Montgomery, said that he loved him, wanted him to be here, but also gave him an exit plan if he wanted to go. What about maybe making the push to have him stay? Because, obviously, why would you want him to leave?
Exactly. Right. Why wouldn't you? Like I said, going back to the continuity thing, he's been a part of this program right now. They know, they're familiar with him. He knows how he can best be utilized. The guy is a goal line monster. Again, you start moving certain guys and you go looking for them all over again. Right. It doesn't make sense, I think it'd be the same kind of thing. You let him go, and then you're looking for a guy like David Montgomery, veteran presence, knows how to get it done all over again. So that's a guy I'm keeping if it's up to me.
Will Petzing have to worry about maybe balance between a Gibbs and a Montgomery and getting each guy the amount of carries and the amount of touches that they feel that they need? Because I know that's a fine line to walk. Guys always want more.
Yeah, and it seemed like David Montgomery wanted more, and I think we were all waiting for more from him last year. But at the same time, everybody has their job. So it all depends on where you're at. It depends on how you're going to utilize things. I want to see what kind of system he's going to use. When Ben Johnson was here, we saw all kinds of trickery in their offense.
We did.
So, but will we see some of that? I don't know. So it all depends on what they want to employ. Everybody's got to do their job, know their job, and that's how you go about it.
Now, you also talk about salary cap issues when you talk about bringing in talent and keeping talent. For Brad Holmes, I mean, the issue, I'm going to start with tight end, Sam Laporta. I mean, you have to start thinking about, hey, do I pay this guy or do I let him walk? We saw T.J. Hawkinson walk a couple of years ago, so perhaps it's similar?
You can't pay everybody. And right now, they're going to look for some young, talented guys they've got on the cheap to fill in some of those holes because they signed some big checks to these guys. They didn't get enough. I mean, Curry Joseph last year, that was a big miss, and that certainly hurt, and they gave him a ton of dough. These guys are getting paid. It's great to take care of your guys, but they've got to be on the field. They've got to produce, and then you've got to find cheaper parts to augment to fit under the cap if you want to keep going forward. So it's going to be interesting to see how they balance that.
Yeah, you mentioned Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch in that same kind of boat because coming back from injury, who knows what he's going to give you and when he's going to be ready and all that. I mean, they say, guys are going to be ready at, whatever time. But who knows? Hey, don't forget, you fans can get in on the conversation. Check the QR code right down here on your screen or the number to join the Zoom room here on the Fox Local app. Remember, this is the Sports Office every weeknight from 7 to 7:30. Let's continue the conversation with Trevor Thompson. Trev, what would you do if you were the Lions going into this year? Because we've talked about maybe redefining the direction of the team and how they need to proceed. What would you do?
I would keep the course is what I would do. I would stay on course. Hutch was coming off a major injury. Who knows how much of himself he really was. I think he got better as the season went on.
Agree.
But I really think you just stay the course. If you've already had enough change. I keep going back to continuity. Kelvin Shepard's going to be in his second year. I thought he did a great job last year. I don't think I'd change much defensively. I think that you're going to have a healthy Hutch in there, healthier this year again. I'd just stay the course. On the offense, you've got a new offensive coordinator. I think you're really going to try and have to figure some things out there. That might be where your focus is. But that's going to start with the O-line. I mean, losing Frank Ragnow was huge. Skipper retires. I don't know what's going to happen with Taylor Decker. You've got concerns right there. You've got to fill that in.
Taylor Decker came out this week at the Combine on his social media and said that he was going to come back. And a lot of us were scratching our head because at the end of last year, he was in the Lions locker room talking about how he can't even play with his kids right now. His shoulders are so, this and that. So,
man, the price you pay, right?
Exactly. And you would think that there'd be a lot of people in his ear saying, hey, honey, let's think about, your future and, your quality of life moving forward. And that's something that, he's gotten a little emotional about. So it was kind of a shock to me to hear him say, I'm gung-ho, I'm all back in, here we go. Yeah. So, we'll see. And plus, isn't it going to be more of the same, Trev, if he comes back? He's going to be monitored. He's going to, maybe keep him out of practices.
He's going to miss time.
I mean, against lesser opponents, he may not even play. So, it's the same thing. You're still going to have to go find another guy for offensive line. Right. And you've got a new coordinator. So a lot of question marks on the offensive line and with that offense. So especially defensively, I'm staying the course. Those offensive pieces that you've paid that are there, I'd keep using them the same way and try to build that thing out. But I wouldn't go try to make a whole lot of changes because I think there's been too much change already that guys have to adapt to. Well, there may have to be more change because especially with the news coming down today about Terrion Arnold and that court case that is going on. I mean, I'm not laughing at him. I'm just like, it's the situation. Wow, come on. I mean, it's almost like an OJ revisited. But another guy, you got to stay on the field. Like, let's worry about what you're doing on the field. Exactly. Stay in the house, bro. Stay in the house, bro. There are things that you do not have to take into your own hands. No, you don't. And this is one of them. Call the police if somebody broke into your house or whatever. Exactly. Maybe, see who you're hanging out with and maybe clean up some of that. We'll see what happens. But again, there's probably going to be more coming out on the Terrion Arnold situation as we move forward. There's much more of the Sports Office, though, coming up right after this break. We'll be back with me and Trev and you guys. Come on into the Zoom room. We'll be right back. And that's why Aliens is one of the best sequels ever. That's why I think. But anyway, more talk about that in the break. Let's come on out and chat about the Pistons in the NBA, because right now they're the best team in the East, Trev. Pistons looking good. Cade Cunningham, the evolution of this guy into a superstar is happening right before our eyes.
And it was so important that it did happen, because there were questions early on whether it was going to happen or not. And this guy just blossomed and he developed. I really think last year's playoff run really elevated his mindset, his confidence, his game, his hunger to get to the next level with his team. This guy has taken off and is a legit MVP candidate, a legit superstar in the league. If you didn't know, you better ask somebody. He is on the radar right now. He's lifted this team. And just after what happened 2 years ago, can you believe they are where they are right now?
I'm loving it.
I can't believe it. I'm loving it as well. But he is a big reason why. And the fact that his game has taken off, he has lived up to the hype and then some. And it's still so young.
Let me ask
the
you
future's just
let me
so
ask
bright
you
for
the
this guy
question
and
I'm
his
asking
team.
everybody. Are they ahead of schedule?
100% they are. 100% they are. And you can talk Cade all day long, but you have got to give and recognize J.B. Bickerstaff and the job that he's done with these guys, the way that he's pulled them together.
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed with him. Odds-on favorite for Coach of the Year, in my opinion, right now at this point in the game. And I think that's literal, too. If you look at the odds, he is the favorite for Coach of the Year right now. Deservedly so. But he deserves a lot of credit for what's going on right here with what he's done with these guys.
And Cade getting MVP talk, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great to
well,
see.
you win, all right, to the victor go the spoils. You win, you're going to get that kind of recognition.
That is true, but still, having said all that, there's one thing that's bugging me, okay, and they're still not getting the national love. I keep hearing about, hey, Tatum's coming back to Boston. Don't forget about the Celtics. Hey, I'm hearing Harden going to Cleveland. All of a sudden, now they're lifted in the talk about playoffs, and then the Knicks are always lurking. I just want to start hearing, hey, you know what? The Pistons are going to do this. They are going to get in. They're going to win the East, and then we'll see where the chips fall. But I'm thinking that there's no way these guys get derailed.
I think part of the thing, too, is if you look historically speaking, have they ever gotten any national credit? Has anyone ever believed in the Pistons? I really don't think that they have. If you look back in history, even the bad boys didn't really get credit. They got credit for being the bad boys, but it wasn't really for the talent the team had or that they were expected to win. I think they overcame odds and overcame, people putting them down along the way, those heights. But I think this team, maybe even all of Detroit, doesn't get the credit it deserves.
Well, the going to work Pistons were a little, different than the bad boys as well. But I think they, created enemies in the NBA because of the way they were playing. Nobody liked to see the Pistons win 89-53. Right. You know what I mean? So obviously some things had to change there. But this year's squad, they're serious. And the only thing another thing that concerns me, gives me a little bit of a danger zone here, is the fact that sometimes Detroit can play down to the level of the opponent. And we saw that against Oklahoma City when they came in here with basically a G League team, okay, and the Pistons only win by 8. And we're down by like 17 in that game for a while. So there are stretches where there's some slippage.
But then, you know what, I just go back and look at that Knicks game. I look what Cade did in that Knicks game. I look at the way they handle. You mentioned them as being one of the people that nationally get a lot of attention right now. Well, the Knicks don't want to see the Pistons coming. They don't want that matchup again. You know that the Pistons are hungry after that matchup last year to rub it right back in their face. So I really think that, I don't know, when I look at the East right now, the Pistons are my team. Right. And not just because I'm here in Detroit. I just think the way they play D, the way that they are so cohesive as a unit, and the hunger that they built after last year, and where they've risen from over the last 2 years, I give them all the credit in the world, and I think they're legit.
One thing I've heard when people talk about the Pistons is the fact that with the Knicks, it's personal. And I love that because, Trev, let's be honest. That's what it feels like, doesn't it? Exactly. It does. It feels and that's what's been missing in the NBA for a long time. Because, back in the day, it was, like the Boston against L.A. and, the Pistons against Jordan and Chicago. And there was no love lost there by anybody. And I'm starting to see a return to that kind of, hey, I don't care about you. I'm going to walk all over you as I try to get to the goal I'm trying to get to.
I love it. I love it. I love that sort of attitude. I love that intensity and a rivalry. I mean, if you want to go back to the Lakers and Celtics rivalries, or you want to go Avs and Wings rivalries, when there's a genuine hatred on the floor or on the ice or on the field for the team you're playing against, I just think it raises everybody's intensity.
You know what? In the 3 minutes left in this segment, let's talk quickly about the Tigers, okay, down at spring training, and the idea of Justin Verlander coming back. Now, everybody is happy about it. How do you fall in as far as Ver coming back here?
Love it. It was always part of his plan. He said he wanted to pitch till he was 45, so he's not hanging on for any other reason than this is the career that he envisioned for himself. I think he said along the way he wanted to end his career in Detroit. Maybe it plays out that way. It's only a one-year deal right now. It'll be a couple more years before he's 45, but maybe he sticks around for another contract. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe this really works out, and he's not only a mentor, but, again, a winner. You can't get enough winning in your room. And this guy's a winner. Manager
A.J. Hinch is a guy that has to juggle personalities and create chemistry.
Well, he's had JV, so he knows what he's dealing with that.
Exactly. But with this JV and the determination behind this JV, does maybe Hinch change his approach just a little bit, maybe soften it towards JV a little bit and say, hey, you know what? You take the ball, buddy. I'm not going to micromanage you in the 7th, or if you're cruising in the 8th or something like that.
I don't know how. I'd like to see how what's going to play out, but I think he's going to listen to his body too. And I think all of this is about load management. It's now the catchphrase in all of sports, but I think they are going to manage his load along the way. And I really am interested in seeing other pitchers have come here and talked about Chris Fetter and what he's done for them. I'm wondering what those two pitching minds together, Fetter and Verlander, are going to create along the way here, and how they're going to maximize whatever he has left down the stretch of his career.
They may even be able to create a 6th spot for him, the way they continue to collect starting pitching as they move forward. It seems that there's no long relief. Instead of a long relief guy, that's a starter, right? And that's what they're doing, because Hinch, I think sometimes he gets trapped by the structure of what he likes to do, where he brings a guy in the 7th, and then in the 8th, and then in the 9th, instead of maybe letting the game play out and the flow of the pitcher continue. So we'll see if he can manage that, and we'll see how Verlander maybe snaps him to attention with that kind of thing as far as what happens.
Because he's going to raise the intensity.
Exactly, because I'm sure fans can imagine right now to see a guy like Justin Verlander cruising, and then A.J. Hinch coming out of the dugout, and he's going, no, dude, get back in there.
Save your steps.
Exactly. So we may start to see a little something different with the Tigers. Hey, you know what? We haven't talked about the Red Wings yet, but we will do that after this break. There's plenty more to talk about. In fact, I'm also looking for some fans in the Zoom room. Don't forget the meeting ID down there and the QR code. There's more of the Sports Office right after this. Welcome back to the Sports Office on a Friday night here with Trevor Thompson, and we're bringing in Fox 2 producer Justin Rominski
Hey,
right here.
guys.
How you doing, Justin?
Good, Woody. Hey, Woody. Hey, Trevor. Good to see you.
what's happening?
All right,
All red for the occasion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk Red Wings, because right now the team back in action. We saw a big win in Ottawa last night. Dylan Larkin scoring 2 goals. And you know what? I'll start with you, Justin. Is that an Olympic bump we're seeing?
I'd say that's an Olympic bump. I forget. I think it was Sam Bennett. The Kachucks are doing good after the Olympics. I think that's a huge step. But third game against Ottawa this year. They got one more to go. They've all been close. 2 have went extra time. So big win for the Wings.
Trev,
right
talk about the current status for this team right now as a wild card team. It just goes to show how tight the Atlantic and the East are right now.
And there's one thing I'm going to pick out about last night's game, too. And you look at getting Simon Edmondson back off of injury, gives Kachuk a punch in the mouth, and just lets the people know. This kid, Edmondson, plays with an edge. He's got talent. I think he's got some offensive upside we're going to continue to see as his career goes along and as he develops and grows. But I just absolutely love this kid. And that is a big loss when he was out of the lineup, a big addition when he's back. And I think he showed the edge in that Ottawa game last night that's going to continue to resonate throughout the rest of the season. And I think this Red Wings team, they're going to make the playoffs in my mind. I was going to predict an extended run. I'll stop short of that. Let's baby steps right now. But this team's legit. They've taken the next step. They've been solidified in net with the play of John Gibson.
No
I
doubt.
think Todd McClellan being here from day one and having training camp and all that, you can't overstate how important that was right now. He has taken this team to the next level. He's a legit coach. Hunger is a word I've been using tonight. Larkin's got hunger. I think McClellan's got hunger. I think it's going to be infectious throughout that room right now, and I can't wait. This March won't be like the last couple.
Last night was an example of hungry, right?
Yeah,
Hungry second period.
Exactly. And playing with an
Stay
edge,
in the fight, right?
Playing mean, play mad.
You know, Trev,
You're
you
gonna have to play
mentioned
mad.
head coach Todd McClellan talking about how he doesn't want to talk about March anymore. He's tired of hearing about March. Over the last, 3 seasons, we've seen a March swoon for this team that has really knocked them out of any kind of contention for the postseason. But this year, I kind of like the fact that he's already making a note of that, and he knows it's there. He can understand it, but he's not letting it affect the team. Does it get more apprehensive for him as the intensity rises in this month? Because with only 23 games left, everyone counts.
Right, and you're playing a lot of. The Wings are 7 points in right now, but you got a lot of teams on the bubble coming up in March. You got Boston, you got Buffalo, you got Ottawa again, and then you've got the Panthers 3 times and the Flyers 3 times.
Right.
So even though they're a little farther out, but those are games that are going to have a huge impact when you get down the stretch.
And it's been that way the whole season.
Yeah.
It seems that games have had an impact because of how tight the standings are. It seems if you have one bad week, Trev, you're out.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's going to be a battle of attrition down the stretch, too. That compressed schedule really does play with players' bodies and being, I guess, mentally engaged, too, because when you're tired physically, you get tired mentally, you start making mistakes, and you make mistakes, you're going to start losing games. But Todd McClellan, the thing I like about him, takes no BS. There are no excuses. It's not about. They talked about coming back off a long road trip and the first game back and being a tough game. Oh, we don't play any of that. And you're talking about right now. We don't care what happened the last few Marches. So he takes no BS.
Play hockey. You've been playing it your whole life.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's leave the Red Wings chat there and get to
Really?
our fun
Must we?
stuff for
Yeah.
tonight. Tonight we're going to play giant Jenga right here, and we have this game right here. In fact, it's Lions bricks right here. Really cool. Trev, I'm going to let you go first. So
All right.
come
All
on
right.
up and we'll play some Jenga real quick. I don't know how good you are at this. Are you good at this game? You know how it goes. You can't let the stack fall, and you can push one out. Yeah,
These things are packed.
Yeah, they are packed tight. So make a good selection. Ooh, that's pretty good. I'm gonna go this route up here. Maybe we'll push it right out the middle. There you go, out the middle, right there. Okay, what do you got, Trev? We'll put the other ones here.
These tough blocks.
I should probably ask you a Lions question
Great
as we
blocks,
do it.
right?
Look at this. Is tight. This is tight. Uh-huh.
What is up with
Yeah,
these
we're not
blocks?
playing around, dude. Oh, he's got it. All right, I got a minute left. Let's see if I can get this done without knocking down anything. I like the
luck
middle.
to you.
It's always the middle, pal.
Smooth.
Always the middle. Time running out. I don't know if you're going to get it.
They're stuck.
They're not stuck. Oh, at the bottom.
There we go.
Oh,
There we go.
Dude, this guy, you're making it hard. You're making it hard. I'm going to the middle again. How much time left, June? 30 seconds. Oh, it's easy. Look how easy that was. Oh, gang. This is simple. Hey, if we don't get this thing done in time, I want to say thanks, everybody, for joining us this week on the Sports Office. They'll have more hijinks and hilarity next week. Don't forget, this show goes live on Fox 2 coming up on, March 23rd. It's a Monday. So I'm going to pick this one right here. Look, another one for me. We'll keep it going. It's a show. Are we still on? Are we still on? Go, Trev, go! And that's it. Now we are off. Thanks a lot, Trevor Thompson, for coming in. Appreciate it. Justin Orminski here. We'll look for you guys next week on the Sports Office. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight.
Thanks for joining us as we cap off another busy week of all things people, power, and politics. This is The Pulse. I'm Charlie Langton. And a lot was said during the Tuesday State of the Union, but one thing that got some attention was President Trump's proposal for a new retirement plan. So what the heck is this all about? Financial planner and elder law attorney Kelsey Samasco is here with some answers. Also, between the State of the Union, the latest involving the immigration crackdown, Congress, a lot happening in the world of politics this week. Democrat Sherry Gay Dagnago and Republican Jamie Rowe, they will debate the headlines. That should be fun. And then trying to earn your vote in the race for the United States Senate, Republican Genevieve Scott on why she believes she can beat Mike Rogers and others. And what is her message to the voters? That'll be in about 20 minutes or so. We've got a lot going on today. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right through some of the big political headlines that we are on top of right now. Starting on Capitol Hill, former President Bill Clinton deposed for hours in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Now, Clinton told the House Oversight Committee members he did nothing wrong. He saw no signs of Epstein's sexual abuse of minors, and it comes a day after his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, was also deposed. The